To become the President of the United States, you only need to answer one question. What is 1 plus 1?
2.
Everyone was in disbelief, thinking this person was a genius. It turned out that this was the world 500 years in the future. Mountains of garbage piled up, and buildings on the verge of collapse were tied with ropes. 500 years ago, high IQ couples were busy with work and didn't want children, while low IQ couples did nothing all day but were eager to reproduce. Over time, the collective intelligence of humanity began to decline. To address this phenomenon, the military planned to freeze society's elites to preserve high IQ genes. The man was one of the first test subjects. After receiving an injection, he fell into a deep sleep in a cryogenic chamber. The plan was to unfreeze him after 1 year, but unexpectedly, the head of the experiment was arrested due to corruption, and the secret experiment was completely forgotten. The lab was demolished, and the cryogenic chamber was sealed underground. 500 years later, the population soared, and intelligence rapidly declined. Garbage piled up everywhere, with no one to clean it. Suddenly, a mountain of garbage collapsed, flooding the city. The man's cryogenic chamber was washed into someone's house, and when the switch broke, the man woke up. Before he could figure out what was going on, the homeowner threw him out. He tried to seek help from passers-by but found that they all seemed quite dull. He saw a hospital nearby and decided to go in for a checkup. To his surprise, the nurse randomly selected a cartoon icon and let him proceed with the checkup. The doctor was also unprofessional, pulling out 3 metal rods and telling him to put them in his mouth, ears, and butt. Then, the doctor suddenly realized he had made a mistake and told him to switch the one in his butt to his mouth. The man he reluctantly went to rinse his mouth, only to find that the water pipe was dispensing beverages instead of tap water. Later, the man accidentally saw the date on a magazine and realized he had been asleep for 500 years. However, since he hadn't paid for his hospital checkup, he was arrested by the police and taken to court. The court assigned him a lawyer, none other than the person who had thrown him out of the house. This lawyer not only refused to defend him but also accused him of being guilty. As a result, the man was sentenced to 500 years in prison. Before entering the prison, he had to take an IQ test. What is 1 plus 1? The man answered 2 and couldn't believe that he was the only one to answer correctly after all these years. Clearly, the people 500 years later had become idiots. So, on the day of his imprisonment, the man had a bold idea. He went to the prison guard and told him that today was the day he was supposed to be released. The guard suddenly realized and let him go. It wasn't until the man ran out the door that the guards realized someone had escaped. The man jogged back to the unreliable lawyer's house. In the conversation, he learned that there was still a time machine on Earth. The man decided to use it to return to a time when humanity was still normal. However, on the way, the car ran out of fuel. The prison guards chasing him also caught up. They had no choice but to abandon the car and flee. Not far from there, they saw the police open fire on their car, even using a rocket launcher. But the rocket launcher missed and hit an innocent airplane instead.